Hi, it's Dr. Gabi Goss with Equolution.com, and today I would like to talk about the right and the wrong time of the day to give your horse ulcer medication, a certain ulcer medication that is called Omeprazole or commonly named Gastrogard. So why is there a right and a wrong time? Let me explain. Some riders believe that they should give this medication before they get on their horse. And they believe that as soon as that medication is in the stomach, it gets effective right there. And for the duration of the ride, the horse will not have an excess of stomach acid and the horse will go calmer or better. Well, that is not the case. And let me tell you why. When you give this medication, which is commonly called or pharmaceutically called a proton pump inhibitor, when you give such medication or any related medication to the horse, it gets into the stomach and it is not going to work right then and there. What happens is it will get absorbed in the gut behind the stomach. It will pass the stomach undigested and without effect on the stomach acid. It will get absorbed in the foregut, will get into the bloodstream, and then it gets metabolized and comes back around via circulation back to the stomach wall, where it then inhibits the so-called H+ proton pump. In simple terms, it inhibits the mechanism that will produce or release stomach acid. And that process, from the time when you give this medication to your horse to the time it gets effective, it's about approximately 2 hours. So you are way off your horse by that time, I would think, unless you're an endurance rider. So let's just say now that you have given this medication, it's in the horse, and it actually gets worse. So now you gave this medication, and the medication will have an effect for the next about 8 to 10 to 12 hours. So anything that you feed your horse after that, the nutrition of that feed, of anything you do, food and supplements, will be compromised. And here's why. Your goal is to take out the stomach acid because you want that stomach ulcer to heal. And if there's stomach acid, the stomach ulcer has a tough time to heal, and that is correct. But at the same time, nature has made stomach acid for a reason. Think about it a moment. Why would nature create something that is of absolutely no use or harms the organism? There's a reason, and here's the reason. Your horse will need stomach acid to digest and properly absorb big nutrient groups, food groups, as there are carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Especially protein needs a stomach pH. It's an indicator for how acidic the stomach is. Stomach pH of 2 to 4, and that reflects a lot of stomach acid. So there has to be stomach acid present to prepare the protein for absorption. And if you give your horse ulcer medications, those that are proton pump inhibitors, such are Omeprazole or Gastrogard, if you give your horse this medication anywhere during the day and you feed your horse after, anything that contains carbohydrates, fat, or proteins is not going to be absorbed. And your horse might show poor performance, lack of top line, lack of muscle, and just might overall not be well. So what do? It's very easy. It's a slight shift in your overall stable and horse management. What you do is you give this medication at night or after the last meal, the last bucket meal of the day. Now, what do I mean when I say bucket meal? I mean anything but grass hay. Bucket meal is any concentrate, rice bran pellets, beet pulp, anything that contains supplements, anything besides grass hay, because the grass hay gets digested in the hindgut, and the omeprazole will not affect the passage through the stomach in the foregut when you feed hay. But even alfalfa, if you do feed alfalfa at night, you might want to shift that around and feed it during the day. So here's how this looks like. You go about your day with your horse, and then let's say you feed the last bucket meal or alfalfa at 4 or 5 or something around that is usually dinner time, even 6 o'clock sometimes, okay. And then as soon as you present your horse with that food, with that bucket or the alfalfa, you can give the paste or the powder. And then it takes 2 hours to kick in. So you give the paste or the powder, your horse eats it, it gets into the stomach, it goes through the stomach, it gets absorbed, goes in the bloodstream, and this process takes 2 hours. So in the meantime, your horse is eating the bucket or the alfalfa, and stomach passage of that food is usually only 20 minutes in horses. So the food passes the stomach relatively quickly. So by the time the omeprazole starts working after on or around 2 hours after you gave it, the nutrients that your horse needs and that you fed are already absorbed into the body, and you don't have to worry about this. Now the omeprazole can work overnight for the next 8 to 10 to 12 hours on an empty stomach. And an ulcer, a stomach ulcer, is like any wound. You want to have it clean anyways, without anything laying on top, whether that's dirt on the outside of a leg or something, or whether it's food on top of the wound in the stomach. You want that stomach empty to heal, and this is the ideal situation. So you give that at night. It's that easy. All right? Thank you so much for listening, and have a good ride. Bye-bye.